Harvard tested 2,200 companies by posing as a consumer and filling out their contact forms. The average business took 42 hours to call back. Nearly 1 in 4 never called back at all. And the ones who reached out within the first hour, 7 times more likely to actually land the deal. And 60 times more likely than the ones who waited even 1 day. When you're following up with leads, speed is not a nice to have. It's the whole game. And today we're breaking down exactly how to win with it. And so if we haven't had a chance to meet yet, I wanted to welcome you in. It's good to have you. On this channel, we talk about one thing, how to grow a brick and mortar clinic with online advertising, primarily health and wellness businesses. We spend our days inside of these clinics, and that allows us to learn from them. Chiropractors, physical therapists, med spa owners, neurofeedback practitioners, functional medicine providers. We learn from them every day, and we ultimately help them grow their patient base through online acquisition. And so what we do on this channel is we bring the lessons back to you so you can take the ideas we share with you and apply them to your own business. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Today's gonna be a deep dive on lead follow-up, the opportunity that turns a cold stranger into a patient that actually shows up in your business. Let's begin. Okay, so let's start with the first 60 seconds. The first 60 seconds are the single most critical window of time. As Harvard saw, if you can call within the first minute, you massively increase your probability of getting in touch with a lead. So you can very clearly see that timeliness is of the essence here. So how do we actually ensure that somebody calls within 60 seconds? Well, first is you have someone dedicated. Okay, what happens in a lot of clinics and why they're not able to achieve this is they basically get a bunch of leads, and then the person they throw on to handle the leads is basically doing that in addition to another job, okay? So what's happening is that the leads are actually on the back burner comparatively to the other responsibilities they were already provided. And so as a result, the staff member does not have good speed to lead, and they're not really engaged in the process, okay? So if you can have a dedicated person, you're ahead of most. Now the second thing is an incentive model. Okay, when you have somebody that does this particular role, the only 2 things that you want to incentivize on are 2 things. Number 1 is speed to lead. Okay, so you can track their work, and if you have a team underneath them or a lot of setters, whatever, track speed to lead, okay? You wanna know what percentage of leads are actually being called in the first 60 seconds, okay? The second thing is you want to incentivize cash collected for deposits. So basically the way we design it is that, for example, if we're running some sort of chiropractic offer, neurofeedback offer, and the initial special is 97, and the client has somebody who's calling on their team, if the person books an appointment, cash collects a deposit from the prospect over the phone, then the person who did the work gets to keep that initial money. So what that does is it incentivizes the setter to get patients on the schedule who are already booked and prepaid. Now, the next piece and question that may come up would be, well, what if I'm not prepared to do the first thing, which is hire someone, okay? Or have someone full-time or at least part-time doing this? What if I am just not in a place that I can make a hire, okay? Here's the second option. It's what we call blocked time, which basically means that if you can't commit to having somebody do this full-time, then you are gonna sacrifice speed to lead. But we did see that if you can get to a lead within the first 24 hours through the Harvard study, we saw that it still has a huge chance that you'll get in touch with them and get them in your business, okay? So instead of having someone dedicated full-time, if you have someone part-time or someone who's doing this in addition to another job, they will have a blocked time. As an example, let's say from 12 to 12:30, every single day, Monday through Friday, maybe even Saturday, they block the time. So they do nothing else during this period of time besides call leads. That's all they're doing. And so you have to be the leader and instruct people on your team to say, hey, listen, John is gonna be calling leads in our office every day, guys. He's gonna be calling from 12 to 12:30 over in this room here. Okay, it's very important for us because he's gonna be driving in patients by calling the leads consistently every day. And so from 12 to 12:30, no one, including myself, is allowed to bug John because what he's doing right now is feeding the beast of the machine. He's getting leads in the business to make sure everyone else on the team is taken care of. So he's doing a very important job. Our responsibility is to not bother him during that window of time. And that's called block time. And what happens now is like, yes, maybe you're not getting the quick speed to lead with this particular model, but what you are winning on is consistency. Okay, a lot of clinics, they don't even get this done, period, because they're not consistent. Not only do they have poor speed to lead, but they're not even doing it every day. So the block time ensures that no matter what, every day, this particular activity gets done. And we know it's getting done because we block the time. And then it's also easy to manage because we know after 12:30, we should have seen a multitude of calls going out to people who are interested in our business to ultimately get deposits and get them in the door. So these are my two favorite ways to really, really improve not only speed to lead, but also just being more consistent with your phones in general. Now, the next thing that's extremely important, we'll call this number 2, is just straight up volume. Volume of outreach, as they say, massively important. Because what happens is that a lot of clinics, what they'll do is this is the process. They get a lead, they then call, and then what they do is they wait and they put it back on the lead. They go into this holding pattern and they wait for the lead to call back. I know, it sounds kind of crazy, right? So instead of that, you have to flip the switch in that when you're generating leads from ads online, not referrals, not word of mouth, you have to pull those people into the business, right? You have to really like pull out, reach out and lend a hand to them to bring them in the business. So what happens as a problem is that someone will call and then they'll wait. And what'll happen in businesses is that people will say, oh, well, I'm just waiting to call back. You know, I called within 60 seconds, I haven't heard back, I'll wait till they call me back, right? So instead of that, here's an idea for you to consider, right? In the first 24 hours you have the lead, try to call 2 to 3 times minimum, okay? I'm not saying you should blow them up at every hour, but you should genuinely give them some significantly serious attempts in the first 24 hours. And I would recommend you call 2 to 3 times. Lead comes in the morning, call them. If they don't answer, wait 5 minutes, call them again. If they don't answer again, call them again later that afternoon, right? I've had a lot of clients that will come to us and they'll basically say, yeah, man, like the strategies you're talking about, you know, we used to call leads once and wait. Now what's happening is they're calling leads twice in a row or within a couple of minutes, and then they're calling again in the afternoon, and you'd be stunned at how many people get in touch with you on that 3rd or 4th try, okay? So you need to become serious about getting people in your door. It's your responsibility. That's not the field of dreams out here, man. The market's not just gonna come to you at will without you having to do work, right? So you need to call very aggressively and really reach out in the first 24 hours, okay? 2 to 3 times would be recommended. Now, the other piece of the volume is make sure you do what's called cover-ups. Okay, cover-ups basically mean that you're gonna reach out via phone, okay? I'll jot this down for you. You'll reach out via phone. You'll skip the voicemail, okay? We're just gonna skip the voicemail. You'll move to a text that tries to push somebody to a phone call, okay? So if you have a prospect, you reach out, and then if you can't get in touch, you text them, okay? And the text is ideally gonna push them to a phone call. Okay, so ideally you're taking calls with all prospects before they come into your clinic, because that is how you qualify people very deeply, is on the phone, so that by the time they come in the clinic, the doctors don't have to worry about hyper qualifying people because that's already been done on the front end. That's the most effective way to do that, okay? So you want a phone, then you want a text, and if you have an email, you want to consider the email too. So what you do is you just reach out to this prospect in a handful of different spaces just to make sure you cover them up. Some people are gonna check their email, some people are gonna respond via text, some people are gonna answer their phone right away, okay? And you wanna repeat this process. So every time you reach out to somebody, if you're gonna do it 2 to 3 times in the first 24 hours, phone call, text, email. So we might touch base with them, 7 to 12 times, maybe more in the first 24 hours. And that's the goal, because we're trying to shortcut the window on how long it takes us to touch base with the person. So if it takes 7 to 12 touches to get a sale or to get somebody booked on the calendar, do I want 7 to 12 touches to take 2 weeks, or do I want it to take 24 to 48 hours max, right? The answer is obvious. You always want to shorten the sales cycle, so make it your duty and responsibility to reach out and get the lead on the phone and do enough volume, and you'll get that person to actually comply with your outreach. Now, the third thing that wins in today's market right now, especially with all like the AI setters and stuff like that. And by the way, I'm all into AI. We're using it every day in our business, our clients' businesses, right? But the challenge with, actually, we're gonna skip the whole AI part. Fuck that. Get rid of all that, dude. Now, the third and final thing that you must have in this equation, you must have somebody who's trained on phones. Okay, so the first two are all about getting prospects on the phone. Next, we need to talk about what it looks like to be really good on the phones, okay? So there's a couple things. First is you have to understand the design of the call. Okay, the call is designed to qualify, to set open loops, and to get a deposit. That's the intention of the call or the design of the call, okay? So somebody must understand the design of the call, otherwise it doesn't work. Okay, the next thing is when you get somebody on a call, you have to be able to hook them. Most people are calling and they're like, hey, yeah, this is John. I'm calling from ABC Clinic. I saw you booked in with us for Thursday, right? So they're like, they sound like every other salesperson, right? Instead, what the smart clinics are doing is they're calling and they'll say, hey, Kathy? Kathy will then say yes. And they'll be like, yeah, Kathy, it's just Jeff with, ABC Clinic down the road. I saw that you had requested an appointment with us for Thursday. Did I catch you at a bad time? If Kathy says, yeah, it's a bad time, then I'll say, no problem, Kathy, I'll keep it quick. If she says, no, it's a good time, then I'm right in the game. Okay, that's how you hook the prospect. Okay, that's the secret sauce right there. I just gave it to you live, okay? So you wanna hook the prospect. Next is you wanna go to a discovery. Okay, that's where you qualify. Okay, the discovery is not, hey, I saw you booked in with us for Thursday at 10. Looking forward to seeing you then. Like that's not a qualification, dude. Like that's not how that works, right? That person is likely to not even show to the appointment. They felt no rapport, they felt no connection to your business. You were entitled in that conversation and you just thought that they should just waltz in without really having rapport with you, okay? So the discovery, you're gonna build rapport by asking smart questions. You're not gonna ask how the weekend was, did you watch the game last night? That's fake rapport, dude, don't do that. You wanna build real rapport. Real rapport comes from asking smart questions. Smart questions designed to get information that's relevant to the consumer and how you can possibly help them, okay? Now, once you're opening up rapport, you're getting the person to lower their wall, okay? At that point in time, you're gonna start asking deeper questions, okay? Why'd you sign up for us? What are you hoping that we can help you with? What have you tried in the past? Why have those things not worked for you? You're doing a mini discovery here. And now once you've completed your discovery, you have to ask yourself, like, is this person qualified? Like, you will reach a fork in the road here. Are they qualified? Are they not qualified? Okay? And so let me actually go down here. Now there's two paths that they can go down when you're speaking with somebody, okay? Path 1 and path 2. Path 1, unqualified. Path 2, qualified. Okay, so if someone's unqualified, you need to have a process on respectfully ruling them out on the phone, because you don't want to waste the time with them. Okay, that's the whole point of this exercise, is so you're actually maximizing the opportunity. You're not wasting time in your clinic with people that aren't committed or that it doesn't make sense to even have in the first place, okay? That's how every business works. A lot of clinic owners just forget that piece, okay? So the next is, if they are qualified, then what do you do next? Well, then what you do next is you set open loops. Okay, we're gonna show you how we're gonna help with ABC, how we've helped with X, Y, and Z, how we've helped this many people do this, what we're gonna help you with on that, right? So it's all these things that pertain to them in their situation. Okay, you wanna let them know they're in the right place and then open loops of excitement that allow them to feel like, man, this is gonna be a good opportunity for me, okay? Then you'll finish with a deposit, taking a deposit over the phone, okay? That's where you actually collect the money. Okay, doesn't really depends on like what type of clinic it is, but it may range as low as like 27 bucks all the way to maybe like 197. Okay, depending on what the offer is, what the details of the offer are, and ultimately just what the value is. Okay, so at any rate, at the end of the call, you have someone who's qualified with a deposit. Now, in order to get good on the phones, again, you have to understand the design. You have to understand how to open loops, do discovery, build rapport. You have to know the whole thing. So that is the third piece of the equation, right? So we've talked about 3 now. Number 1 is just general speed to lead within the first 60 seconds by having the right person in your system, okay? So number 1 is you have a whole dedicated person, or you block time, okay? The second thing is volume. Okay, we talked about how to maximize volume. You want to maximize the 24 hours, 2 to 3 attempts, 2 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 2 in the evening, 1 in the morning, depending on when the lead comes in, right? So you want to maximize volume, and then you also want to cover people up. And now the third piece is you got to be good on the phones, okay? You got to have the right tone, you got to have the right script, you got to have the right call design, and then when you have all those things that work together, what you end up with is you have a nice clinic, and you have people coming into the clinic, and ultimately the people coming in are not only just, they're not just random people. There are people that you have already qualified to be a good fit for the service, and they have the perceived motivation to solve the problem in the business. And you can tell all that by being skilled on the phones, because the people that are no good, the prospects you want to rule out, they have all kind of red flags. They're short, they might be sassy, they might keep asking about the price, right? So when you take enough calls, you get real good at respectfully disqualifying people, and that makes the downstream in the business so much easier. And so if this video has been helpful for you in terms of how to maximize your lead management, the lead followed up best practices, I want you to do a couple things. Number one, ask yourself, out of these 3 things, speed, volume, or phone skills, which one are we missing in our business right now? And be honest, right? The best business owners confront the brutal facts. So be honest with yourself and then attack one of those. Because even just fixing one of these 3 things will get you a better result. If you're able to do all 3, you're really gonna be cooking with fire. And so if you got value from today, I want you to hit subscribe. We are putting out videos like this all the time on clinical acquisition. So if you got value, like and subscribe, share, whatever you feel like is relevant. If you didn't find it valuable, then don't share it either. That's how the value economy works. If we do a crappy job around here, I don't deserve for you to share it anyway. But if you found it helpful, then share it forward. We do grow organically around here. And if you want a little bit more help from us, maybe looking at your business, maybe helping you design some automation, some systems, maybe even helping you get a lot more patients in your doors, I'll leave a link below in the description for you to check out to see if there might be an opportunity for us to come into your business, work together at a deeper level so we can help you implement a lot of the ideas that we share here on the channel. Until then, hope you guys have a great rest of the day. We'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.